Hello guys, now I'm going to talk about peptic ulcer. Peptic ulcer is one of the most common health problems among people. It refers to an eroded lesion in the gastric intestinal mucosa. It means erosion in the mucosal lining of the gastrointestinal tract. Ulcer is nothing but sores. Peptic ulcers are sores that develop in the lining of the stomach or in the lower part of the esophagus or in the small intestine, particularly in duodenal part. An ulcer may form in any part of the digestive tract which is exposed by the digestive action of acid or gastric juice. The incidence of peptic ulcer is 4 times higher in men than women. The two, men are more affected by duodenal ulcers, whereas women are affected by gastric ulcer. Next one is types of peptic ulcer. There are 3 types of peptic ulcers: gastric ulcer, esophageal ulcer, and duodenal ulcer. Gastric ulcer. Ulcers that develop inside the stomach is called gastric ulcer. Esophageal and the duodenal ulcer, from the name itself we can say the ulcers that develop inside the esophagus is called esophageal ulcer. Duodenal ulcer is ulcer that develop in the upper part of the small intestine. It means small intestine includes 3 parts: duodenum, jejunum and ileum. The upper part is duodenum. If the ulcer occur in the upper part of the duodenum, it is called duodenal ulcer. Duodenal ulcers are about 10 times more frequent than gastric ulcer. If you see the picture, it will be very clear. The ulcer is in the stomach part is called gastric ulcer. The ulcer is present in the esophagus part, that is esophageal ulcer. Here, the ulcer is in the small intestine, that is the beginning of the small intestine, that is duodenal part. This is called duodenal ulcer. Next one is causes of peptic ulcer. Gender. Compared with women, men are affected 3 or more times by peptic ulcer. Next one is nervous system. Factors such as emotions, fear, worry, nervousness, anxious, also the causes of peptic ulcer, because it creates hypersecretion and hypermotility of the stomach. Hyperacidity. Strong acid that is secreted by the cells lining the stomach can be potentially dangerous, and it may eat the lining of the stomach or duodenum, producing initially irritation of the stomach wall and eventually an ulcer. Because of the hypersecretion of hydrochloric acid, initially it creates an irritation of the stomach wall. Later it creates ulcer. Next cause is age. The age group between 30 to 40 years. Nowadays, even after 15 years or 20 years, are at high incidence of peptic ulcer. In older adults, those who are taking more pain relievers are getting more chances of peptic ulcer. Gastric stimulants. It is called secretogases. This is similar to lactogases. What is lactogases? Lactogases are a substance which stimulates lactation. Likewise, secretogases are nothing but the substance which stimulates secretion. Example of secretogases are caffeine, alcohol, meat soup, chilies, spices, and smoking. These can increase the gastric secretions and stimulate gastric motility. Next one is eating habit. Dietetic indiscretion like overeating, taking of heavy meals, or highly spiced foods, irregular food timings, or skipping of meals, or continuous fasting, inadequate mastication are all important factors that can cause ulcer. The main cause of peptic ulcer is the bacterial infection. That is, the name of the bacteria is Helicobacter pylori. It can cause chronic and indolent inflammation by damaging the mucosal defense system by 3 ways. That is, first one is by reducing the thickness of the mucosal gel layer. Second one, diminishing the mucosal blood flow and interacting with the gastric epithelium throughout all stages of the infection. This H. pylori infection can also increase gastric acid secretion by producing various antigens, virulence factors, and soluble mediators. You can see the picture here. As I told you earlier, the ulcer is in the stomach part. This is called the gastric ulcer. When you take a close or magnified view, you can see the invasion of the Helicobacter pylori in the lining of the mucosal cell. So, because of the inflammation, there is an infection is there, infected part you can see. After that it leads to ulcer, the penetration is there. So this is all because of Helicobacter pylori. Next common causes, smoke. Smokers who are infected with H. pylori are at high risk of getting peptic ulcer. Drinking alcohol. Alcohol can irritate and erode the mucosal lining of the stomach, and it increases the amount of stomach acid that's produced. And having untreated stress for a longer period and continuous eating spicy foods for an extended period of time definitely lead to ulcer. So that's all about causes of ulcer. So far we have covered what is peptic ulcer, what are the types of peptic ulcer, and the causes of peptic ulcer. The next video we'll see about the dietary management of peptic ulcer. Bye bye. See you in the next video.